Hey everyone, welcome to Immigration News by Team Law. We have an important news to share with you that a lot of the forms related to USCIS have increased their fees. This came about based on a proposed rule from last year in November 2019. So it actually took many more months than I anticipated for them to finalize the rule, because once they post a proposed rule in the Federal Register where we can post a comment or make a comment, they need to allow at least 60 days. So it possibly been delayed because of the coronavirus and the shutdown. So these fee increase changes take effect on October 1st, 2020. So just in about at least 3 months. So since tomorrow is August 1st. So they proposed this rule of increasing the fees on different forms because they anticipated, based on their budget and anticipated revenue, that last fiscal year and this fiscal year, each year was going to anticipate at least a $1 million shortfall. And when they proposed this rule, they actually received over 43,000 public comments. I actually participated. I try to participate every time that the government in general related to immigration tries to change something. There was an uproar in this proposed rule because of at least a couple different forms they were going to, or they proposed increasing fees for asylum applications. That's form number 589. So they actually did finalize that they're increasing it from $0 to $50. Now, some of you may wonder, well, it's only $50. Well, inherently, most people that are a significant number of people who are applying for asylum are those literally just left their country and came into America. So it's not expected for someone leaving their country to have money in hand, but they could. But it's quite strange to even ask for $50. But on the business side, on the government side, I can understand, because each application that's reviewed takes time for someone who's being paid by the government. So they try to make it a balance. So if anything, I'm glad it's only $50. Then again, the government does try to increase fees every 3 to 4 years. So I wouldn't be surprised if it increases in the future. So I just want to share other notable information about this final rule. USCIS does accept some forms by online. However, myself, and I can tell you other practitioners, other attorneys, we don't like the online filing system. It's so bad that the government has put in the final rule that they're offer a $10 discount on certain forms if you file online. In general, attorneys love filing online. You don't have to mail anything in, which also costs extra. Where everyone is always worried, is the government going to receive the package? Because we've heard of horror stories, but we've tried online system. But anyway, it's just kind of hilarious that they even have to offer a $10 discount, which from what I can recall is usually for the change of status form, the petition for a family member, I-130, and N-400, application to become a naturalized citizen. Now, there are some unforgivable increases. I mentioned one earlier about the asylum application, or increased $50. There's two at least related to waivers. I-601 has gone up, let's see here, from $930 to $1,010. Another waiver, provisional family unity waiver, where you can apply here and stay in the U.S. during that time. Processing time is called 601A. That is going up from $630 to $960. So that is a 52% increase. So that's one of the largest increases out of all the forms. I'm not going to share every single line item of each form, but I just want to share the notable ones where it's essentially the government has increased significantly. So the one that could affect the most people is the N-400. As I said, application to become a citizen. That right now is $640. Plus, now it's going to $1,160. So that is an 81% increase. Now, all these fees I mentioned do not include the biometrics fee, which that might be the only bright spot here. for non-DACA applications, the biometrics fee is going from $85 to, I believe, $30. So that's the one bright spot. I'm sorry, there's one more bright spot. There's something called immigrant fee, which is really the fee to create the resident card for someone who's going through a process called consular process, where they had been, the forms in general had been filed and whatnot while they were living abroad in their country. That fee was 220. Now it's going to 190. So you save $30 there. The other surprise, unforgivable increase, another unforgivable increase is the Form 929. Let's say someone has a U visa already and may have resident status or about to apply to become a resident. And U visa is someone who has been a victim of a crime. And so if they are married to someone, or another family member is able to apply through that person who has U visa status, that fee used to be $230. Now it's going up to $1,485. So basically $1,500. That's a 546% increase. I'll just let that sink in for a little bit. And most people who apply for a victim visa, whether it's U visa or T visa for persons who are trafficked into America, to waive certain inadmissibility, we call it uh, advance permission to enter as a non-immigrant visa holder. And so that's going from $930 to $1,400. That's nearly a $500 increase. So for the people that are most vulnerable, the government has increased those fees for people who apply for asylum, people who have been victim of a crime, and also a victim of trafficking. There has also been an increase for a form called 751. That's a process for someone who has resident status but had the conditional resident status, and they have the fee increase goes from $595 to $760. Side note: this conditional resident status, someone who has this must remove those conditions, meaning file this form 3 months, has a window period of 3 months before that status expires. So as soon as that 3 months hit, I recommend you file as soon as possible. And so for ourselves, we remind our clients to do that. So within our firm, we provide calendar reminders and also call our clients to assist them with that. So just to share some surprises, the fee for DACA actually remains the same, $495, which includes the biometrics fee. The I-90 fee to renew your resident card, permanent resident card, which is every 10 years, that actually is reduced from $555 to $415. And the petition for immigrant worker is, for resident status, is $700 down to $555. And actually, most people are familiar with the I-140 and I-130. If they're eligible to adjust status, meaning obtain the resident status, that form goes down by $10, $1140 to $1130. And the petition itself, I-130 for family member, that increases $15 from $535 to $550. So it appears the government has increased the fees most significantly for those who are the most vulnerable population, unfortunately. So actually, I just wanted to share some of the comments in this final rule that the government actually says they review all the proposed or posted comments, and they respond to a good amount of them. The final rule ended up being 576 pages. So I hope you gain value from this video, because I'm sure no one wants to go through all 576 pages. So in the proposed rule, the government actually wanted to increase the DACA fee, the work permit for deferred action of childhood arrivals. And they actually decided not to increase that fee based on the current cases. So the government actually responds to many of the, if not all of the comments, and sometimes they lump together all similar comments when they respond. So, for example, they refer to the law in the Immigration Nationality Act to justify the fee increases, depending on what the comment is. Or they'll say, of course, it's not discriminatory. One commenter said that the rule would significantly deter family-based immigration, contrary to congressional intent. And the government actually responded to this comment and said that in adjusting the fees, the Department of Homeland Security is not imposing a wealth test or otherwise attempting to erect barriers to immigration, and rejects any implication that it justifies for adjusting the fees as pretext to obscure any other motivation. And they stated that the final rule also complies with the Administrative Procedure Act, which it did. They actually submitted their proposed rule and gave the public time to comment, unlike the time they tried to revoke DACA. So I share this with you because the timing of this is interesting. I mean, it's right after the Supreme Court cases regarding the DACA. It's also right after the public charge rule that was temporarily blocked based on a nationwide injunction out of the Southern District of New York. That decision was this week, actually. It's also the same week that Senator McConnell out of Tennessee had proposed the HEALS Act in response to the pandemic right now. Because within that HEALS Act, the proposed bill, it has at least $3 billion slated for the Department of Homeland Security. And 1.22 billion of that, so one-third of that, more than one-third of it goes to USCIS as a loan. So even with that loan and also the surplus from the fee increases, the fact that they're talking about furloughing, I'm starting to think that that's a scare tactic, another method of the Trump administration trying to deter immigrants from applying for any kind of benefit. And I say that because some applications do take at least 1 year to process. Some may take 18 months even. So that's why it's even more important that you consider hiring a lawyer, at least have a consultation with an attorney that focuses on immigration law. I've seen bad things happen, even where there's someone hired a notary that does not have a legal license, law license, or they've hired an attorney that doesn't have any experience in immigration law. Keep in mind to do your research, do your due diligence of that attorney, because ultimately we do recommend you hire an attorney, whether it's us or another law firm. We're happy to refer others depending on the jurisdiction or city. Check out the link to the final rule with the list chart of the increased fees. And also check out our other video about the HEALS, a proposed bill, the HEALS Act, and result of the pandemic. I'm sure you'll be interested in where the money's going. It's not just to the people. If you got value out of today's episode, please subscribe below, hit the like button, and hit the bell to get our weekly updates. Thank you very much and look forward to seeing you soon.